Hey everyone, welcome back. Now, of course, just about at the time of filming this, we're about a week before Christmas, so I'm sure this will probably be out sometime around Christmas, give or take. So, fair, this is probably going to be the last video of the year. Might as well show off a couple neat things I've had sitting around that I've been wanting to do a video for a while. And, which is these here, a couple 1/32 scale model kits by MPC. These, I believe, would have been from at least from the early 70s. Like this one here, the Piping Hot 1926 Morris Cowley Roadster. This would have been part of a similar set of early 1900s vehicles. Built this one here many years ago now, which went well, and then been contemplating about looking at getting into more of these vintage 32nd scale kits, as these are fairly few. These are quite readily available on the used market, though being old, they're not exactly hugely desirable. Then got this too, is the Alfa Romeo race car. So getting into it, might as well start off with the Morris Cowley. This one here, these are the Mild and Wild series. So showing here, you can build it as a stock roadster or even a customized sports car. So bringing this up, have been playing around with these a little bit, so have taken done some assembly with these. So pretty much your basic instruction fold out, then of course a full view on how the car goes together, giving you optional parts like if you want to do the roadster top with the top down or the top up. And of course with the rumble seat, having the seat either up or down. It's quite a neat feature. Back here it shows you placements for the custom tires, or if you want to just go with the stock. Which these are the parts, which I don't have the decals for this kit, which is a bit of an unfortunate demise, but the whole car is here itself, and these are the custom parts. Nice set of open slot mags, custom engine sides, and then exhaust or the intake trumpets. So pretty nice looking stuff. And I'm sure then here we have the tires, set of just your standard street tires, and then of course you have your racing slicks for the rear. Now of course, like based on the box art and the other kits that were available at the time, it's pretty much like these were all the same kit, just these customizing parts were thrown in secondly. It's got quite a decent selection of parts, like you got the full suspension, roof cover, parachute and roll bar for the race model, rear axle with wheel backs, which you got the wheels here, which all these really do is just sit on the back, and then there's a hub that will sit over top that'll keep everything together. Now, doing a little bit of research about this car, there's a couple sources out there which gives you a bit about the car, where from my understanding was that this iteration at least entered production in the late 1900 or like 1910s, so around 1916, 1917. And then this model went into production all the way up until 1927, which the car itself would have a little tiny four-cylinder engine. Can't be much more than like 30 horsepower, especially for back in the day. Now, I'm sure the hot rod version here would have considerably more power. Then you got other parts here like the rooftop and the radiator grill, which pretty much looks like a space helmet. Then you got the rest of the parts here consisting of front, pretty much like the front axle itself, full set of wheels and tires along to go with the spare. Fairly simple, straightforward stuff. Like, pretty much just paint these, and then depending on how you go, you either paint the thing black and just paint the insides, or paint the insides first and then paint the tires either like a black or a white, depending on how you want to go about it. And you got your seats for your figurine to sit, which you'd have one being, which by the looks of it, you'd have one being the passenger and then another being the driver. A little bit squished, but could manage to make it work. Couple small parts here and there, like what looks to be the, okay, let's see here, we've got what looks to be like the dashboard, and then probably a couple of the accessories for the running boards, which the running boards themselves is just one whole piece molded into the, which essentially just goes onto the chassis. Now, when I was going through this kit originally, when I first got it many months ago, seeing that some heat must have got to this before I did, as the body of the car looks quite swollen, so nothing really lines up. So might go ahead, play around with it, probably put in like some boiling water, get this to sit down a little bit flatter so that the back end can at least line up, and then pretty much start building it. Now, even though for such a small kit, there are quite a lot of features. There's quite a lot of pieces to it, which actually here I had this kind of brought out that's just been sitting for a while, which is, of course, my built-up model of the 1904 Duroc. So even with this had quite a few small pieces to it, which put together makes a fairly nice looking build, especially even for something quite simple. So I'm sure playing around with this gives you probably fairly good representation on what to expect. So yeah, I'll make a fun little build. Might end up, if I'm not able to get this piece here to sit flat, I might just end up getting another kit and then making a couple replica pieces of what would be the right side of the body. So yeah, it's pretty much that on the Morris Cowley, which I'm sure would be a neat little build, as aside from the Ford Model T, there's not much for kits that are anything other of early 20th century vehicles. So that was a look at that, and now take a look at the Alfa Romeo. So just like the Cowley, this also is in a fairly small little box. Gives you a bit of a rundown of some of the parts and features of this car, which, from a little bit of research, this car is based on a 1932 to 1934 Alfa Romeo 8C 2300, which the 2300, of course, representing the displacement, and the C8 being the how many cylinders it's got, which in this case would be an inline 8 engine, which would be quite a large unit for especially back in the day. And from a little bit of research about this, the car itself is designed as a race car from back in the day, designed for the Italian Grand Prix and 24 Hours of Le Mans, which it fared quite well, even though it wasn't a hugely successful race car. So being in 1/32 scale, it's fairly straightforward kit. Instructions fold out, and of course get a few larger pages. Gives you all, and of course, nice thing here's like for the manufacturer telling you all the supplies you'll need in order to put the car together. Which, just like any of these little cars, there's quite a lot that goes into them. Now, these here are from another MPC kit, which would have been another of those Mild and Wild early 1900s vehicles. Forget which one these ones were from, though I'm sure one of these codes on the back will be able to let me know which kit these were from. Now, unlike the Cowley there, the body on this isn't warped and is nice and flush. Now, of course, pretty much with anything of age, that will need some cleanup around the mold lines, seams, stuff like that. But overall, it looks fairly crisp for an MPC kit, which technically these kind of weren't MPC kits, as these were originally Airfix kits from probably like 15 or 20 years earlier. So these would be still relatively fresh models. Supposed to get, and got a couple other pieces here, like got the chassis all put together, which in itself is like a 5-piece assembly. Like you got the engine, floorboard with transmission, the frame rails themselves, and then dashboard, and rear panel, which right here would be where the spare tire goes. Fairly simple on that. And then this I pretty much have kept together for a little while now, as it's pretty much showing you how when these kits are built, or I guess when everything's getting injected and molded, you'd have the sprue that's quite large, and then when it's warm, it just gets twisted over to fold it over in a compact shape, which is quite a neat touch, seeing how the sprue itself is still intact, even though usually these get all broken off. And a couple more parts here, like got the instrument cluster itself, steering wheel, couple linkages for the handbrake and shifter, and what looks to be seat. No, I initially thought these were going to be the seats, but these are the seat cushions and seat backs right here. So not totally sure what this piece would be. Thinking maybe a roof cover. I'll have to look at the instructions, see what those are. And then got the set of wheels and tires here, which are pretty much a 4-piece assembly, as you have the rim, or the rim itself, which is just a little wafer disc. Get one, see if we can get one of these to pop out. There we go. A little disc here, slide it in, and then of course, then you take one of the wheel backs, and then just glue it in behind. So yeah, fairly straightforward on the wheels and tires. Though it does make it kind of easier, just paint the rims, or yeah, paint the rims individually, and then paint the tires nice flat black. And then when everything's all taken care of, that's when everything gets put together. Just glue everything together. Don't have to worry about going in with the fine brush to paint everything up. So there's that. And then a couple other pieces here which look like support brackets. handles, and of course more wheel backs. A couple brake discs themselves. Or these would more be the hubs, so that glue these onto the axle to keep the tires from falling off. And then a couple more pieces, primarily being the suspension, figurine, and what could be a couple more brackets, I suppose. Not entirely sure. Again, I haven't really played around with this too much, so it's quite a lot to, I guess, unpack from all this. Like here we got some more body work, which is the outer fenders on the front or for the rear, which has a little luggage rack on the side. Then we got the front fender, which by looking on the box would have quite a lot of support trusses, or supports going across, so that I'd imagine more just to keep the fenders from wobbling around and keep them more secure at high speeds. Kind of a neat piece to see. Got the chrome, or not chrome, the clear pieces, which gives you a nice windshield with adequate room to go in with a paint marker and just touch up the window frame. Then we got the glass lenses themselves for the headlights. And then a few other parts, like here the radiator grille itself with the Alfa Romeo script inside. Paint this up separately from everything and then just glue everything together. Then one of the seat cushions, and tire, and another, what this could actually be, looks like more the handbrake, or possibly a throttle, depending on how set up on the car. And I guess there is a piece of chrome, which is this license plate bracket. It's just large enough to put a license plate on, and that's really much. Or if anything, could be like an oversized mirror. So yeah, that's pretty much all for this kit, at least. So it's a bit of a run through of the parts. Figured show something a little bit different, as you don't really see many of these high piece count 32nd scale kits, as usually the 32nd or even the 42nd or the 43rd scale kits have only a parts count like 10 pieces, maybe 12, depending on what you got. So yeah, that's pretty much a quick look at these, and yeah, that's pretty much tie-in final video of the year. Well, probably when it gets like closer to spring and summer, definitely be looking into getting more kits built rather than just hide from everyone, as like just trying to find time and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on then. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. So Merry Christmas to everyone, and then of course Happy New Year's, and see you in the next year.